The BMW Z4 is a precision instrument. It sits low, it's aerodynamic, and it's engineered to connect you directly to the road. But that connection comes with a specific trade-off. Because it's a lightweight roadster, it doesn't have the heavy, dampening mass of a larger commuter sedan to absorb imperfections. That precision engineering acts as an amplifier. If a bushing is slightly worn or a tire is just slightly out of balance, you feel it immediately through the steering wheel and the chassis. This requires a shift in perspective. Successful Z4 ownership involves managing a sensitive mechanical system rather than simply driving a standard vehicle. When everything is dialed in, the car is incredibly responsive and thrilling to drive. But the moment the suspension or alignment falls out of specification, that responsive ride quickly turns harsh and unpredictable. In a heavier SUV, you might be able to ignore a degrading mount or a slight alignment pull for months. In the Z4, those underlying issues can't be masked. Its high-performance nature strictly demands a proactive approach to maintenance if you want to keep those driving dynamics intact. BMW builds these cars with a condition-based service system, an onboard computer designed to monitor wear and tell you exactly when to bring the car in. It's based on baselines established on a pristine factory floor. But the computer has a blind spot. It often fails to account for how rapidly certain components degrade when they are exposed to extreme, localized environmental stress. Take North Texas, for example. In Dallas and Plano, summer temperatures routinely climb past 100 degrees, acting as a severe environmental proxy for vehicle wear. That intense heat creates severe temperature differentials. Going from a cool morning to a blistering afternoon forces engine gaskets and plastic components to expand and contract far faster than the factory computer predicts. Add in heavy stop-and-go traffic and uneven road surfaces, and you are constantly heat cycling the engine while punishing the suspension. This quadrant chart maps your maintenance strategy against long-term costs. If you take a reactive approach and wait for things to break, costs look low at first. But when heat finally overwhelms a critical component, the financial curve violently spikes into high-cost territory. Relying solely on dashboard warning lights in a harsh climate turns cheap, routine maintenance into catastrophic repair bills. This ledger outlines the actual return on investment for specific maintenance choices. First up is the car's biggest vulnerability in extreme heat, the cooling system. The Z4 relies heavily on rigid plastic for critical cooling parts, including the expansion tank, the water pump, and the thermostat housing. Under constant heat cycling, pressurizing in the Texas heat and cooling down, that plastic physically degrades. It develops microscopic stress fractures and becomes extremely brittle. The proactive input is to inspect and replace these aging plastic components based on time, long before the dashboard throws a warning code. The trade-off is entirely psychological. You are spending your money to replace car parts that technically aren't broken yet. But look at the reactive outcome. If you wait for a coolant warning light while sitting in summer traffic, the gap between that light coming on and total engine failure is almost zero. Spending a moderate amount on preventative plastic cooling parts secures an undeniable return by saving you from a 5-figure engine replacement. Looking at the second row of the ledger, we move to the Z4's specialized suspension geometry and performance tires. Many Z4 models use a staggered tire setup. Because the rear tires are wider than the front, you cannot rotate them. Without the ability to rotate, any uneven tire wear caused by a bad alignment is permanent. Once it starts, it accelerates rapidly. Every time you strike a pothole on rough infrastructure, you damage those low-profile sidewalls and instantly knock the precise chassis out of alignment. When the alignment gets knocked out of spec, the coarse asphalt violently shreds the inner edge of that soft performance rubber at highway speeds. The proactive input is scheduling frequent suspension bushing inspections and dedicating yourself to alignment checks after harsh road impacts. Absorbing the higher routine cost of precise alignments is the only mathematical way to avoid prematurely destroying $1,500 sets of performance tires. This third row on the ledger addresses the weekend drivers, highlighting the costs of age-based degradation. There is a common misconception that leaving a car parked in the garage pauses the physical aging clock on chemicals and rubber. It doesn't. Brake fluid is highly hygroscopic. It constantly pulls moisture from the ambient air, regardless of whether the car is driven 10 miles or 10,000. Over months of sitting in a dark garage, ambient moisture penetrates these stationary systems, severely compromising the fluid's chemical integrity. Time attacks other vulnerabilities as well. Rubber engine gaskets dry out, batteries lose their charge, and convertible top seals shrink from lack of conditioning. The proactive input requires servicing the vehicle on a strict calendar schedule. You replace fluids, test batteries, and condition seals every 12 to 24 months. Treating a weekend car as a stationary object guarantees massive reactive costs later in the form of electrical faults, oil leaks, and cabin water damage. The defining difference in how you manage a Z4 comes down to this. Maintenance prevents wear from becoming a failure, while repair is the expensive act of fixing that failure. This scorecard compares the dealership against an independent specialist across different service categories, helping you align your service provider with your vehicle's specific lifecycle stage. For newer Z4s, utilize the dealership primarily for active factory warranties and official safety recalls. But even under warranty and extreme heat, supplement baseline computer service with independent fluid checks. Once a Z4 ages out of warranty, the focus shifts. It then makes financial sense to transition to an independent specialist. Specialists excel at diagnosing aging systems. They distinguish between an immediate safety priority and a minor cosmetic issue that can be monitored. Having an independent shop prioritize your repairs prevents high-pressure upsells that often occur when bringing an older sports car into a high-volume dealership. A BMW Z4 demands a proactive owner. Investing in planned inputs ensures it remains a thrilling precision instrument rather than becoming a massive reactive financial burden.